Here's the bonus session. Part 3 of how to machine knit the Striped Square Afghan covers preparation. Perhaps this session should go first, but I think it's almost better to experience the Afghan, then get smart about it. There's a real science to divvying up your leftover yarn and getting it ready for this Afghan. First, look for similar weights of yarn. They don't have to be an exact match. For instance, you could use a worsted weight and blend it with a textured yarn, or ply finer yarns together. Second, look for colors that work well together. Look at color intensity or find super contrasting colors. Variegated yarn combined with similar solid colors works amazingly well with this pattern. And on the border you get some very interesting effects. Third, gather all that leftover yarn and separate it by individual colors. Now it's time to divvy up the colors accurately. Set the scale to measuring grams. By doing so, you avoid constantly converting pounds to ounces in your head. Weigh each color separately. Just pile the whole lot of the same color onto the scale. On your notepad, write down the color and its total weight. Since there are 4 panels on the Striped Square Afghan, logic says that you would want to divide the yarn into fourths. But unless you love to play yarn chicken, dividing the yarn into fourths leaves you with absolutely no wiggle room. To be on the safe side, we are going to allow 20% of each color for each of the 4 panels and 20% for wiggle room. If there are smaller balls of yarn in the color, multiply the total amount of this color by 0.2 to determine the 20% amount. Then, see if smaller balls of yarn can be combined together to come up to the 20%. Set this amount aside to use on the first panel, and the remainder of the yarn is plenty to finish the last 3 panels. Otherwise, multiply the total weight by 0.8. This is the amount of yarn that you will not wind off. Start winding and watch the values on the scale. It will begin decreasing as you wind the yarn. When it reaches the 80% amount, stop. You have wound off 20% of the yarn for the first panel. But don't cut anything. Instead, tie a slip knot and mark the slip knot with a stitch marker. A few inches of contrasting color of yarn can also be used to tie into the slip knot to act as a marker. Then repeat the process for each of the colors intended for the Afghan. The first panel A sets the color scheme for the entire Afghan. When you reach a marker, simply remove the marker and undo the slip knot. If you are at the beginning of a row, cut your yarn and change colors. If you are in the middle of a row, knit to the end of the row, then change colors. Make sure to note the row on which you make the color changes. I hope this gives you a better way to divvy up your leftover yarn and incorporate it into the Striped Square Afghan. If you would like to see more videos like this, please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of future videos. Happy machine knitting!